Welcome to a new episode of Chess TV. In this episode, Professor Ronny Johansson talks about the Swedish ebenist Georg Haupt. Alfred and Adriana dive into the opening theory, and Albert talks about chess, power, and cheating. But first, this. The World Chess Federation FIDE has published the ELO list for February, and we noticed that Carlsen is still dominating the list. Well, when the last ELO list was published, we could tell that Carlsen had beaten Kasparov's legendary rating record of 28-51, but that hasn't stopped Carlsen from continuing the climb. Carlsen has now the rating profit of 7 ELO points since Vik Anze, which means that he is now up to the incredible 28-72, a full 62 ELO points ahead of the runner-up Vladimir Kramnik at 28-10. But Kramnik has other things to think about than ELO points right now. In January the 29th, his son Vadim was born, so congratulations. On January the 27th, it was clear that Magnus Carlsen took gold in the super strong 75th edition of Tata Steel Chess in Vik Anze. Carlsen finished with 10 points out of 13 possible, the same score as Garry Kasparov in his record win in 1999. In the last round, Carlsen played against the Dutch Grandmaster Anish Giri, who actually had a better position, but Giri allowed Carlsen to play out a draw variation, and the game ended in a draw. The second place was taken by the last year's winner Levon Aronian, followed by the world champion Viswanathan Anand. Anand lost in the last round against Chinese Grandmaster Wang Hao, who in the end game managed to obtain a slightly better position, which he could exploit in a stunning manner. Congratulations! And some more Carlsen-related news. Danish Grandmaster Peter Heine Nielsen has over 10 years worked with world champion Anand, but he now leaves Team Anand and goes over to Team Carlsen as one of Carlsen's seconds. Closest in time is the preparation for the candidate match, which will nominate a challenger to world champion Anand. Carlsen and his team will spend several weeks on the Canary Islands to prepare for this match. Carlsen's manager Epstein Agderstein points out, however, that if Carlsen would win the candidate match and stand before a meeting with Anand, then Peter Heine Nielsen would not participate in Carlsen's preparations against Anand for moral reasons. The reason why Heine Nielsen leaves Anand and goes to Carlsen is, however, not specified. Moreover, Carlsen has before worked with Garry Kasparov, a collaboration that was considered to be the ultimate dream team. The cooperation, however, ended after about a year in 2010 with the explanation that Kasparov wanted to decide too much, which did not go well with the Norwegian star. Well, Anand will be challenged for his title in the end of this year, and by whom still remains to be seen. The US team won the Pan American Team Championship in Brazil that was played between the 24th and 30th of January. A total of 4 national teams participated with 4+1 players. Cuba was represented by the championship's strongest team, closely followed by the US national team. But already in the first round, the 2 strongest teams met and the US took the match victory thanks to a win on the 4th table. The US thus ended in the first place, followed by Cuba, Brazil, and Uruguay. The 15-year-old FIDE master Bobby Cheng, also known as the Cheng Express, won this year's Australian Open. A total of 112 players participated, including the 5 chess Olympiad players and 19 title players. Bobby Cheng finished a whole point ahead of runner-up Zhong Yang Chao. Congratulations! Can chess make you smarter? Well, that's actually a question an Israeli research team at the University of Haifa wants to answer. The research aims to study the connection between chess and cognitive improvements in math, language skills, and other related fields. An earlier research report from IBM has shown that chess improves people's reading skills, and in addition, a survey of the Moldovan Ministry of Education has shown that student achievement in all subjects improved after that the students participated in a chess project. Garry Kasparov, chairman of the Kasparov Chess Foundation in the US, has further expressed that students' learning ability, concentration, logic, self-discipline, respect, and consequence management dramatically improved after just 1 year of playing chess. Well, what the Israeli scientists will come up with remains to be seen. But we've already reported on the fact that chess has a positive impact on students. For instance, when the amazing chess documentary Brooklyn Castle premiered. If you're looking for a reason to travel to a sunny destination in May, you may now pick up your calendars and book the 25th of May to the 1st of June. It is when the tournament Salento International Chess Open 2013 is played in Gallipoli in southern Italy. specifically in Ecoresort La Sirene. The tournament is organized in 5 different groups: an open A2B group, rapid chess group, blitz chess group, and a youth group. It surely sounds promising. If you, however, are unable to participate, you may at least follow the tournament on the internet site at sketchirangi.com, even if it's half as attractive as actually being there. The International Chess Festival Moscow Open 2013 is currently underway in Moscow until February the 11th. The festival contains of 8 groups, including the Russian Cup for men and women. The total prize fund is 3.5 million rubles, about $113,000. You can follow the entire chess festival on ChessTV.eu. Who of our chess stars have earned the most on 2012 year's chess tournaments? Well, that's a question Peter Zadanov, Grandmaster Natalia Pogonina's husband, has actually asked himself, and after a thorough investigation, the results have been published on Pogonina.com. The chess player who earned the most on tournament play, not with respect to endorsements, is the world champion Anand, who last year earned about $2 million in prize money. The biggest gain was not expectedly his first place in the World Championship match, which gave him $1,530,000. Additionally, Anand is sponsored by both NIIT, TVH, and AMD. In second place of Chess Cash Kings, we find Israeli Grandmaster Boris Gelfand, who won $1,100,000 in 2012. The largest source of income was the second place in the World Championship match, which gave Gelfand $1,020,000. On a third place, we find the world number 1 Magnus Carlsen, who won $480,000 in tournament play in 2012. The sum is possibly not entirely representative of tournament wins, and Carlsen is also sponsored by Arctic Securities, Simonsen Law Firm, VG, and earlier also by G-Star. You can read the full report on Pogonina.com.
No one likes losing, not in chess or anything else. So throughout history, people have worked hard to find ways to win. And yeah, I get it, it's hard to lose. But hating to lose is in fact a chess player's best quality. It's truly motivating. Just the thought of being bested by someone is enough to make a chess player want to put in all his energy into the game. But there's really 2 ways of winning: the honest way and the not so honest way. Something that the chess world has been recently reminded of with a new chess cheating scandal. This time it's the former mayor of the northern town of Buccinasco near Milan, who had been banned for allegedly using dark glasses that had been fitted with a hidden micro camera and that sent live images of his opponent's move to a powerful chess program that then dictated through a secret earpiece the counter move to make. The politician in question was exposed by fellow players who had witnessed a sudden improvement in his game. The jealous opponents said that the transformation was from a mediocre amateur player into a local Garry Kasparov. But in all honesty, what were they expecting? Already the fact that he was a politician should have triggered some alarms. Add in the fact that the man was playing chess indoors in sunglasses. How could playing chess in sunglasses make someone see their right moves more clearly? And I guess poker players need them to hide their emotions, but what politician doesn't know how to do that already? But maybe we shouldn't judge too quickly. After all, every man should be considered innocent until proven guilty. And the culprit did say that he had never cheated nor used strange technology during matches, and that he could never imagine doing such a thing. But then again, this same politician is also facing corruption charges after that he allegedly filmed taking a €10,000 bribe to greenlight the construction of a car park. There's so much to be disappointed about here. I don't think Machiavelli would approve of this kind of sloppy cheating and bribing. I mean, come on, cheating by wearing sunglasses indoor and taking bribes in front of cameras? What is this, amateur hour? If you're going to be a lying cheater, you have to be as clever as a fox and never get caught. And try to at least be a bit more creative. Next time I'm reporting on cheating in chess, I want it to be some sort of cool cyborg brain implant, or maybe a medium playing with the help of all the great champions from beyond the grave. Now that would be some impressive cheating.
Welcome to a new episode of the Opening School. The 75th Tata Steel chess tournament ended on the 27th of January, and what a tournament Magnus Carlsen had. In the end, he'd won 10 points out of 13 and finished a point and a half ahead of runner-up Aronian. So obviously we're going to take a look at one of Carlsen's games from the Tata Steel chess tournament.
The game we have in mind for this episode was played in the 12th round between Carlsen as white and the American Super Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura as black. As often is the case when Nakamura plays, the opening often strays from the common.
I think we all remember the time Nakamura played queen to h5 as his second move in the Siegerman chess tournament in 2005 against Grandmaster Sasikirian.
Well, this game wasn't quite as crazy and Nakamura actually didn't deviate right off the bat. Instead, the game started off fairly normal with e4, c5, knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, c takes on d4, knight takes on d4, and e5. Nakamura has chosen the Kalashnikov variation and it's one of the most common choices, but it isn't rare either.
The opening opens up a lot of black squares on the queen side, and that is something white targets directly by playing knight to b5.
Both the d6 square and the c7 square is under attack. It's good to know that black is actually able to play a6 without losing. White should play the obvious knight to d6 check, to which black simply captures the knight with the bishop. To play king to e7 instead is unfortunately not brilliant and leaves black in a lost position after bishop to e3, queen to c7, bishop to c5, king to d8, knight takes on f7 check, and king to e8.
The fact is that it's actually better for white to capture an f8 with the bishop than to capture the rook. That's quite interesting. Even though the capture on h8 leads to a bigger material advantage, the capture on f8 leads to a better position, although more complex. Let's return to before king to e7 and take a look at what happens after bishop takes on d6. Alfred, how do you continue from here?
Well, of course, white has to begin by recapturing on d6. And this is most commonly followed by queen to h6, f6, where black tries to exchange queens. White doesn't want it since it would only lead to black being able to develop his knight, leaving us in a position where black actually has the developmental advantage as compensation for the weaker pawn structure.
Normally, white decides to retreat with the queen to d1, after which queen to g6 and knight to c3 is played. But let's go back to the actual game. In it, Nakamura decided to keep Carlsen out of the d6 square by occupying it with pawn to d6. Usually, white plays c4 or knight 1 to c3 in an attempt to solidify the center. Carlsen, however, decided to play g3 instead. The plan is simple, to fianchet the bishop and put pressure on the d5 square. But it's also slow, and the bishop isn't really at its best square.
From this position, the game started to get quite aggressive and strange to say the least. Nakamura began by putting pressure on the white king side by playing h5, and this was followed by knight 1 to c3, threatening knight to d5 with a fork on c7. Black stopped the threat from realizing by playing a6, after which knight to a3, b5, knight to d5, and knight g to e7 was played. Black ends open on both sides, creating weaknesses, which mean that black has to play aggressively in order not to fall apart completely. So what happened next?
Well, black played the game continued with bishop to g2, bishop to g4, f3, bishop to e6, c3, h4, knight to c2, and an exchange on d5. Black has managed to crack the previously calm facade, but from this point on, the game will spin out of control.
Well, first of all, black has to move the threatened knight, and there aren't that many more options than knight to a5, after which Carlsen went to the attack with the move f4, which was followed by knight to f5, g4, h3, bishop to e4, knight to h4, and castle kingside.
This is certainly something else. If you have nerves of steel and a brain that can calculate like a computer, you might be able to actually like these kind of openings. The player that can calculate a move ahead of his opponent will be the one with a clear advantage. To castle kingside in such a position is not what I recommend if you don't have the guts and brains to back it up. The game only gets better from this point, so I really do recommend that you take a look at it at your earliest convenience. But that's all for now. Bye!
Seven years ago, I went to a nice exhibition at the Royal Castle in Stockholm with a big collection of Georg Haupt's fantastic pieces of furniture. Georg Haupt, who lived between 1741 and 1784, is surely the greatest of all Swedish cabinet makers of all times. He was Gustavus III's special and favorite cabinet maker. His pieces of furniture are nowadays sold for millions of dollars. And by chance, I happened to watch a TV program, Antikmagasinet, or the Antiques magazine, recently. And it so happened that the theme was Georg Haupt and his furniture. They showed two examples, and these were a game table and a chess set with board and pieces. I remember both of these from the exhibition at the Royal Castle. And at that time I bought the exhibition book, which looks like this. The game table in the book, which may be the same as in the TV program, looks like this. And the chess set, which probably is the only one that Haupt made, looks like this. In this book, a detailed description is given of the many different kinds of wood materials used to build it. It is still a fairly simple piece of furniture to have been made by Haupt, but it is signed by himself. The pieces are made from ivory, but it is a bit uncertain if they are really made by Haupt. In the TV program, they didn't say much about the chess set, but you can have a look at the program yourselves at SVT Play. The theme I had planned for today is actually something totally different, namely a continuation of the theme on the first chess books published in the different Nordic countries. But what should be considered as the first published chess book can be argued to be a question sometimes with several possible answers. But we will leave that aspect for now. There is one country I haven't talked about yet in this respect, and that is Iceland. I have earlier mentioned that Willard Fisk and his interest in Iceland and the chess history there. In his book Chess in Iceland and in Icelandic Literature, he writes a good deal about chess in the old Icelandic sagas and about the first printed Icelandic book with any significant chess content. It was published in 1858 with the descriptive title Spillabok. Recently I received a mail from Morten Lille-Øren in Norway, who is a great expert in chess history, and in particular medieval chess. But this time he wanted to share a digital copy of a very rare book, and it happened to be the Spillabok. As the title indicates, it is a book describing various games of which chess is one. The whole book is actually just a 32-page booklet. This scan of the cover is not very sharp, but at least it gives a picture of the worn booklet. The title page gives the complete title, Spillabok sem kinner ad spilla, domino och gnaspil, einig skack, dam och fler, which I think approximately means a book of games teaching how to play domino and board games, including chess, checkers, etc. The author is given as Josef Guldsmedur Grimson, and the publication year is given as 1858. If I understand it correctly, the word Guldsmedur means that the author was a goldsmith. The book was published in Akureyri in the northern part of Iceland. The contents are of simple character, and of the total 32 pages, somewhat more than 8 pages are devoted to the rules of chess and some facts about its history. This section begins in this way with the section title Skakktafel. The only illustration in this section is a sketch of a chessboard. But with that we end for today, but we'll return again with a new theme in the next program. So see you then.
And that's all for this episode of Chess TV. Thank you so much for watching. We are back again in the beginning of March, so see you then. Bye!